Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10 while supporting the channel at the same time. And pack one, pick one, open a pretty strong rare, Tajik, nice Boros card, 3/2 Mentor Haste, and First Strike for 2 mana. What else is there? The uncommons, Flight of Aquanauts is okay, but it's kind of gone down in value over time. Celestia, not the best deck, and having to tap out to be able to play the flight only to get it killed is not the best feeling, although 5 toughness does survive a decent amount of removal. Sabotage is great for any blue deck. Fine Broker is great in the Golgari deck, but a pretty heavy commitment to Golgari, which isn't necessarily the best guild. And then looking at the commons, the only one that stands out is the Watcher in the Mist. So it's really between Tajik, Sabotage and Watcher in the Mist for me, and I think it's probably just Tajik as just a more powerful card and a pretty strong incentive to move into Boros, hoping to wheel Shieldmate, hoping to wheel Healer's Hawk. So let's go. Got punished here. Had we taken one of the blue cards, we could have taken Connive Concoct, which is great. Given that we started with Tajik, we could still just take Connive Concoct as the best card in the pack, and then kind of see where we end up, whether it's Boros or a blue deck. If we were stubborn and wanted to take a Boros card anyway, there's a Bodyguard, which is a totally reasonable card. In the Boros decks, quite good, but definitely a notch below Connive Concoct in terms of power level. So I don't think we can justify taking a Bodyguard this early in the draft. I think we just have to take the Connive Concoct, and then kind of keep our options open. Don't commit too early to Boros just because we first picked Tajik. And what are we hoping to wheel? I mean, obviously depends which guilds we end up in. If we end up in a blue or Dimir deck, then wheeling something like Notion Rain or Mesmerist or Radical Idea would be nice. If we somehow pivot back into Boros, still having the Bodyguard there would be cool. Sergeant would also make the deck. Alright, well, best card in the pack here is Lava Coil, not close. So we can kind of move back into Boros potentially, but this would still totally be fine in an Izzet deck where we can play Connive Concoct, maybe splash black for Concoct, but Connive still fine at double blue, and play Lava Coil as well. And then let's say we do end up in Izzet, we can maybe wheel Izzet Guildgate, Disdainful Stroke. If we pivot back into Boros, there might be a Skyline Scout or Cosmotronic Wave on the way back. Alright, well, this is a decision point. There's a Sky Knight Legionnaire versus Hypothesizzle, and both are defensible. If we take Hypothesizzle, we give up on Tajik. If we take the Legionnaire, we give up on Connive Concoct. So it's kind of a preference pick. If we really like the blue decks, we could make it work by taking Sizzle, moving into Izzet, maybe splashing black. If we want to stick to Boros, then we can just take Legionnaire, give up on Connive, which we picked over the Bodyguard, which is fine, and just move into Boros. Moving into Boros with Tajik is definitely a nice incentive, but again, Connive Concoct is strong too. But yeah, let's take the Legionnaire here and hope that Boros is open going forward. No real Boros cards here. The Sergeant's pretty bad. If we had taken Hypothesizzle, we would be looking at Izzet Guildgate, which isn't too exciting here, but it's totally fine. So I guess we take the Guildgate anyway, in case we want to splash some colors or move into other colors. Can't really imagine playing anything else here. Yeah, the fact that you can't really splash much in Boros is definitely a downside. The Boros decks in general also require you to have pretty basic cards, just a bunch of 2-drops and a few pump spells, and you have a deck. So in that sense, the Boros deck has fewer requirements than some of the other decks, where you need more high-powered cards. Like Flower Flourish, probably the best card in the pack here, but like we're pretty far away from playing that given our start. So I don't hate the Guildgate here. Alright, now we can just take a Boros Recruit, move back into Boros. Sure Strike would also be fine, but we have to prioritize taking 2-drop creatures, especially when we have a Tajik which mentors onto them. And this would also still be playable in an Izzet deck, technically speaking. So it's also a pretty flexible pick. These two seem to be in the same packs pretty often, and they're both very strong here, but I have to imagine that we're more likely to want to Guildmage and just be Boros. Like if we take Beacon Bolt and we give up on Legionnaire and Tajik, which, I mean, if you look at what we have left is still pretty strong. Lava Coil as removal, Recruit as an aggressive 2-drop if we end up in a slightly more aggressively slanted Izzet deck, which the Beacon Bolt doesn't necessarily want to be in, but it's a 2-drop. And then Connive Concoct is pretty strong too. But I think it's probably just easier to stick to the Boros Legion here, take the Guildmage, and hope that it works out. And getting a Guildmage this late is also definitely a signal that we might be getting some more Boros cards. Alright, so nothing too exciting here. Halberdier is a pretty medium 3-drop that we're hoping not to play. I guess there's a Plaza for mana fixing, Invert Invent, but doesn't do a ton for us unless we do still end up in Izzet somehow. We already have Legionnaire and Tajik, but there's a chance we don't end up picking any additional 3-drops and we want a Halberdier, so I think we probably take it still. Yeah, Shieldmate's totally acceptable here, nice 2-drop for the deck. I prefer it over Fire Urchin in Boros. Despite Urchin being an easier creature to mentor onto, just being a 2-power creature is much more relevant. Alright, so did not wheel the awesome card in the pack, but we did wheel a Barging Sergeant, that's okay. Still taking it here. We are playing sideboarded games, so Crush Contraband does go up in value a little bit over best of 1, but I didn't think we have to take it highly, and we would probably play the Sergeant. Alright, we wheeled Cosmotronic Wave, usually like having at least one in my Boros decks, so this is a good point to pick one up. Make sure we have it, don't need to take a second Halberdier, Street Ride's pretty bad. So we can probably move out Connive Concoct, probably don't need the Izzet Guildgate. Here we've got a Companions, which provides some tokens we can mentor onto. And there's a Vigil, which is usually not a card you want to be main decking unless you're short on playables, since it's kind of going all in. So I think I prefer the Companions, but there's also a chance we don't play it. Punch could be a nice sideboard card against some more controlling decks, where you get the time to jumpstart it, but usually don't play it in the main deck. Sure Strike is perfect, definitely want a few combat tricks in our deck to help our 2-drops get past potential blockers. Alright, well, the rare and the uncommons are not for us. Vigil, again, not the card we are looking for. There's a Bodyguard and there's a Command Storm. I think I prefer the Bodyguard here, even though Command Storm is removal, and you do want a bit of removal. At 5 mana in the Boros deck, it's quite expensive, where you often end up only playing 16 lands. Whereas a Bodyguard is a perfect card, helps you mentor onto your smaller stuff, and 3 mana 3/3 if you can keep attacking with it is very strong as well, so pretty straightforward Bodyguard, I think. Alright, that's a gift. Integrity Intervention, great card in both modes, especially given that people aren't used to playing around a single red pump spell. They're used to playing around single white pump spells and tricks, but not single red. So Integrity Intervention can also catch them off guard. But of course, both modes are great here. And then hope to wheel, I guess, one of the 2-drops. Sometimes you'll play a Velocity, but it's usually better in the Izzet decks. So, yeah. Alright, well, it's a pretty stacked pack for Dimir here. Takedown, Thought Erasure, Ritual, but also a lot of good Boros cards. Another Bodyguard, Direct Current are both excellent. Don't have a ton of removal yet, and Direct Current is quite good. That being said, a second Bodyguard would be nice too. Direct Current's not the most efficient removal spells if you're trying to play a low curve deck that's trying to be very mana efficient and curve out. Direct Current can be a little bit clunky at times, especially if you need to take out high toughness creatures, which are going to be stopping your smaller stuff. Direct Current doesn't really deal with it, so it's much better in the more controlling Izzet deck where you're killing the small Boros creatures, as opposed to in the Boros deck where you need to kill the 2/5 crabs, for example, this isn't really going to help you. That being said, it is removal. Sometimes you're facing an opposing Boros deck, and then this is great. And there's also a bigger chance that we wheel the bodyguard as opposed to the direct current, even though I don't really expect to wheel any of them. There's two Boros cards here that are kind of fake Boros cards, the Sergeant and the Giant. Not really cards you want in your aggressive Boros decks. There's a Gird for Battle, which is okay. It gets better the more mentor creatures you have. There's a Take card as a nice cheap bump spell, which is also decent. Disregard as a 2-drop, and Dawn of Hope, which is a strong rare, but not at its best in Boros, unless you've got a bunch of Healer's Hawks, which we don't have. We do have Sworn Companions to go with it, but overall, it's kind of slow to get going. And it's more of like a sideboard plan against the more controlling Izzet and Dimir decks. The Giant can also be kind of a sideboard card in some matchups, given that we're playing best of 3. So I think here it's between probably the Gird for Battle and the Dawn of Hope. How many mentor creatures do we have? We've got Tajik, Sergeant, Bodyguard. So 3 mentor creatures. Don't have any 1-drops yet, which would also make the Gird for Battle a bit better, since we can go 1-drop, 2-drop, and then on turn 3 we can go 2-drop plus Gird. I think I'm leaning towards a Gird for Battle just because it's more likely to make our main deck. Alright, that's a nice late Rock Charger. We just saw Pegasus Courser doing work in M19 draft, and it's no different here. Still a perfectly great card in an aggressive white deck like this one. And at 1 power, it's also a great recipient for mentor counters. Hoping to wheel Take card, Righteous Blow, or Instructor. But definitely taking a Rock Charger here. What are we taking now? Could take another Sure Strike. Would probably be the last bump spell we want. Not the biggest fan of the Pack Beast, but it can be an okay curve topper at times. I think we'll still go with a Sure Strike though. And we have to decide between a Shieldmate and a Take Heart. Again, we already have 2 Sure Strikes, so don't need to put too much priority on a Take Heart here. And in terms of 2-drops, we don't have a ton of them. We've got Recruit, Guildmate, Shieldmate, and that's it. So having another Shieldmate as a 2-drop is probably the pick here. Even though Shieldmate's not the best 2-drop we can get in Boros, still totally fine. And don't think we want a second Cosmotronic Wave, but I'll usually play my first Righteous Blow, especially with opposing Boros decks being quite popular. A 1-mana removal spell's quite good. I guess now we can take the Vigil, but hopefully we don't have to play it. Shieldmate versus Disregard is an interesting question. Like, they're both pretty mopey. The 1 extra toughness can potentially open up an attack that you otherwise couldn't make. I'm not really looking at the Sworn Companions here. I don't even know if I'm going to play the first one. We're definitely taking a 2-drop here. Question is which one? If we look at our creature 2-drops, we only have 4 of them, and we definitely want as many as we can get. And between Shieldmate and Disregard, we already have 2 Shieldmates. Guessing 1 Disregard could be useful. Yeah, sure. And I guess we'll take a Witness in case we want a 1-drop. Not the biggest fan of the card, but every now and then you'll play it just to have a lower curve. And can have another Disregard if we want to, or a Take card. Don't know if we'll play the Take card, given that we already have Righteous Blow, Gird, and double Sure Strike. Probably just a 2-drop here. Alright, guess we'll take it now. Don't really want Guardian in my Boros decks. Although it is a sideboard card, which we have to think about here. Like against an opposing Boros deck, if you can play this turn 3, it could be a useful card. Definitely not going to main deck it, but in terms of sideboard card, it's probably fine, since I don't think we need another Take card. Alright, we already have a Vigil, guess we'll take a Pack Beast now. Even though there's 2 Boros uncommons, they're both pretty medium. So looking at our curve, don't have the highest curve, we could easily cut a Pack Beast for a Whelp. Not gonna play the Guardian. Not gonna play Torch Courier. Yeah, I don't have the best synergy with the Marshal to help him get through. He plays well with the Rock Charger, but that's about it. If we had more 2-mana mentor creatures, maybe the Marshal gets better, but I think we'll take the Whelp. Get past the Trostani, which is one of the better rares in the set, or mythics in the set, I should say. Is it somehow possible to splash a Trostani? Do we have any mana fixing? We do not. What would be the alternative? A Skyline Scout or a Direct Current, which are both okay. But Trostani is the kind of card that kind of just wins the game by itself if you can play it. And if we can just get 1 or 2 Guild Gates here, we can potentially splash it. Yeah, it feels like we can't really pass up on Trostani, even this late in the draft. Alright, get past a Truefire Captain. Not the best when we're gonna try and splash green for Trostani, but still very good. So still a pretty easy pick here, nothing else really. Don't need a third Sure Strike. Color could be an okay sideboard card, but probably wheels. So let's take the Captain. Alright, that's a late Legion Warboss. Not gonna say no. There's also another Legionnaire, which would be great, but not gonna take it over a Warboss. And Warboss plus Trostani is also pretty synergistic, not that it really needs any help. Now we can have our Skyline Scouts. Not the biggest fan of Electrostatic Field in Boros, since you don't have a ton of ways to trigger it. Don't need a second wave. Boar's okay, but I guess we're a bit light on 4-drops, so Boar would be an extra 4-drop for the deck, but Scout's an excellent 2-drop. And if we have too many 2-drops, it's definitely going to replace one of them, but I don't think we have too many 2-drops. I guess there's also Boros Guildgate we should consider, since it would make it easier to splash green for Trostani as well. Citywide Bust is a great sideboard card indeed, so it's also a consideration. Could make arguments for Bust, Scout, Boar, and Guildgate. I don't think it's a Bust, even though it's a powerful sideboard card, just because it is a sideboard card, so it's not going to be played as much as our other cards. Boar would fill out our curve a bit better, but is the least powerful card here in terms of efficiency. Scout would be a nice 2-drop for the deck to help us close out games with the flying ability. Guildgate would make it easier to play the Captain and the Trostani. And mana fixing can be underrated, so I think we take the Guildgate, even though there's a chance it wheels. And get another Whelp, but there's also a Goblin, which is a decent 2-drop, which I think I prefer over Disregard for the most part. Attacks into 3 toughness and 1 toughness creatures a lot better. Seems like the pick here. Ooh, that's a late Banneret, 7th pick. Blade Instructor would also make the deck, but Banneret's gotta be the pick here. Nice 1-drop for the deck, which we don't have many. And then the Mantra ability is great too. Alright, so the last pick, probably gonna be a Hunted Witness, even though there's a chance we don't play it. Ooh, never mind, there's a Selesnya Guildgate. Didn't see it there for a second. Yeah, gotta take the gate, gives us the mana fixing for Trostani, which we desperately need. Alright. And now we can take our Hasa Marshal on the wheel, I guess. Yeah, seems okay. I guess another Companions does get a bit better now with Trostani in the mix as well, but probably don't play the second copy. Second Pack Beast, third Sure Strike or first Sergeant. Still only have 2 Guildgates, so the Sergeant still seems kind of bad. I doubt we'll need a second Pack Beast when we have quite a few 5-drops already. So it's probably the third Sure Strike. And can have a second Hasa Marshal. I mean, now that we start getting multiples, it gets a bit better, but I doubt we'll need another 2-drop at this point. There's still a small chance we wield that Skyline Scouts or Boar. It's probably still the Marshal. Alright, so there's a field and a second wave. Sometimes you'll want second wave against opposing Boros and Selesnya tokens decks with lots of 1 toughness creatures, just to have an extra way to kill them. I doubt we'll want a field. And got another Disregard in case we need more 2-drops, and a Sure Strike. Alright, well, deck came together nicely. Bit of an interesting twist with Trostani. So how many green sources do we need? Probably like 3, but that's gonna make it Somewhat ugly for the captain, so I don't think we can play 16 lands here just because of the splash. So we probably need to play 17 lands just to be able to fit in the extra forests. Not sure if we want the Haza Marshals. Like, if we're gonna go slightly bigger with Trostani and play 17 lands, then having as many 1-drops isn't super important. So let's say we don't play all these janky 1-drops. Banneret's still good. We might still want to Gird for battle. Can probably afford to shave 1 District Guard at least. And do like the other 2-drops. Probably don't need all the Sure Strikes. So let's say we do it like this. Halberdier can probably go, Warboss is great, Bodyguard's great, Legionnaire's great, Tajik's great. Probably don't need the Companions. Current's okay, Captain's great, Wave's great. And then we can probably cut the Pack Beast. And then at 5 mana we've got Sergeant, Whelp, and Trostani, that's okay. So let's say we cut all the 1-drops. Then we need to make 3 more cuts. Yeah, also, if we want to support double red for Current, green for Trostani, then having enough untapped white sources on turn 1 for the Marshal and the Witness is going to be more difficult. So we'd rather just kind of ignore the white 1-drops. We have 18 lands, I guess we need to cut 1. So now we have 8 red, 3 green, and 8 white, which is reasonable. And the green also helps us cast the Shieldmate for what it's worth. So we need to make 2 more cuts. Could potentially cut a 2-drop. The Gird for battle, the Righteous Blow are cuttable. If we're cutting a 2-drop, we're probably cutting a District Guard. And I think I like all the 3-drops. The Sergeant's potentially cuttable, so is a Whelp. So let's say we cut a District Guard. Then one of these has to go. And I think I'll leave it up to the chat to decide. I think we do want to play the District Guard, just to have an extra 2-drop though. So yeah, one of these has to go, the rest gets to stay. Alright, looks like the Whelp is gonna get cut. Alright, so this would be our deck then. Yeah, this looks okay. Lots of 2-drops, Sure Strike and Righteous Blow and Integrity Intervention as pump spells, Wave to get past, Current as removal, some powerful 3-drops, and Trostani as a powerful curve topper to win the game by itself. Double Forest, again not great with Truefire Captain, but that's okay. Yeah, I think this is reasonable, and then our mana base looks okay. Looking at the distribution, we do have a bit more red than white. But with a card like Truefire Captain in our deck, we can't really cut too many white sources. So right now we've got 8 and 8 for white and red. And if you look at our 2-drops, they're somewhat balanced. So I think this makes sense. Alright, and our picture shall be Trostani. And how do we call the deck? Alright, Borostani this. Alright, let's give this a shot. Missing white mana is gonna make it difficult. Don't think we can keep. Alright, this is closer to our dream start. We'll keep this. Hope to put a land on top. And then we've got Banneret on turn 1 most likely. Tap land turn 2. Tajik on 3. Totally reasonable hand. Integrity as a pump spell potentially. Oof. Recruit. That's tempting. So if we keep the recruits, it's a nice turn 2 play. So we could go tapped Guildgate on 1, into recruit on 2. Think we just need to bottom just to find our lands here, but it's definitely tempting. And by bottoming, we can also play the Banneret on 1. So it has a bit of upside there too. Alright, picked up another 3-drop, so let's play Banneret. And then next turn play Guildgates. If our opponent plays a 2-2, do we use our pump spell to get our Banneret past the Shieldmate? Could be worth it, honestly. That way if we play Tajik, we get to Mentor onto the Bannerets. And Tajik might not get blocked if they don't have a follow-up, but they likely do. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Want to be mana efficient here since we've got some expensive cards coming up. But if they figure out that the pump spell is Integrity Intervention, they might block anyway just to make us use it. So next turn we can either play Tajik if the path is clear, or we can play Legionnaire if we need to keep back some stuff. Opponent had a slight pause there with a single white mana up, so they could have a Righteous Blow, which would be a little awkward if they have a +2/+2 pump spell, then that's fine. Can still attack with a Legionnaire since we probably don't want to be attacking with Tajik, even though if we play Tajik we could attack with First Strike next turn. Yeah, Tajik no attack would play around Righteous Blow a little bit. Or it's just Legionnaire attack with a Legionnaire. I kind of like Legionnaire attack with a Legionnaire here. And hope that they have a +2 pump spell instead of a Righteous Blow. But even if they have a Righteous Blow and use it on the Legionnaire, they're not using it on Tajik. Alright, so their opponent had nothing there, so not sure what to make of that. They didn't even have a slight pause. Gird for Battle. Alright, so that's it. They had a sorcery speed Gird for Battle, which explains the no pause in our turn. We could Tajik Mentor onto Legionnaire, trade Tajik for Shieldmate, don't know if that's worth it. Could just Tajik no attacks. Or we could Mentor Banneret onto Legionnaire, plus play Shieldmate, I kinda like that. And they're likely to trade anyway, and then Tajik can maybe get in with Mentor. So yeah, let's do that. So let's send Mentor, and we'll see if they want to trade or not. They don't. Alright, it's fine by me. Yeah, if we draw an untapped land, we also might be able to Tajik First Strike, which would be nice. Alright, I'll take it. And the wave also adds a bit of inevitability here. Alright, sure. Honestly, might just be better off attacking with the Banneret and then pumping it twice, Mentor onto the Legionnaire. Opponent's gonna be pretty much forced to trade for the Banneret. We get in for 4 in the air. And then next turn, Cosmotronic Wave is gonna be great. Yeah, we also don't have double white for First Strike on Tajik anyway. And Tajik plus pump Banneret once doesn't do much. So yeah, I think we like double pump Bannerets. And this is why Banneret is such a great card. Yeah, maybe we could have attacked with a Shieldmate there too. If that means getting in 5 damage, then the wave could be lethal, but if they deal with a Legionnaire, then we would be left with not much. Okapi, sure. I mean, our opponent's facing a 2-turn clock with a Legionnaire. And we get to add a Tajik to the board as well, for good measure. So yeah, I think we just attack and then play Tajik. So do we want to make any blocks? Taking 6, what kind of pump spells could they have? Nothing that deals 5 additional damage out of nowhere. So I don't think we want to block, since if they kill one of our creatures, we need the extra creatures for wave to be lethal. Alright, take cards. It's gonna gain them some life. That's okay. So technically they would survive, but the wave's gonna kill them. Alright. So how do we want to sideboard against a green-white, somewhat aggressive deck? Didn't see any removal spells yet. So I don't know how much we need to value a card like Candlelight Vigil. It does get a little bit better, I guess, if they don't have removal. Blocks the Okapi and the 2/2 Shieldmates pretty well. So that's a consideration. Could add another wave just as a finisher. Also don't want to overdo it, since if we draw both the waves and no creatures, that's bad. And a whelp could be a way to fly over. If there's a ground stall, could see cutting a barging sergeant for the whelp, and I could see cutting a random 2-drop, like a district guard maybe, or one of the shield mates. I think we'll cut a district guard. Yeah, I think we'll try this. This hand looks pretty sweet. Turn 1 Guildgate, turn 2 we can choose between lots of 2-drops and then Tajik with any third land. And a Church Strike as interaction. Truefire Captain might be a bit ambitious, but who knows. Well, we've got all the good cards in our hand. If we can draw the lands for them, that'll be great. If we hit a land for Tajik, then having a nice mentor target would be nice, which means Recruit or Shieldmate. Shieldmate playing offense and defense is nice. Recruit attacks a little bit better. Don't think I have a major reason to go for either one. I think I'll just go with the Shieldmate here. Alright, so just need some untapped lands off the top. If we can curve 3, 4, 5, then we'll be in a good spot, but it seems unlikely. But even if we miss, we can play some other 2-drops, so it's not the end of the world. Don't think we block quite yet, but we might block next turn. Opponent does have companions, so that also justifies the whelp a little bit more. If we attack with the Shieldmate, opponent can double block and we can Sure Strike. Don't know if we want to do that quite yet, but the trade is also not terrible. Yeah, sure. So in hindsight, had we played a Recruit, it could have attacked into the 1/1 tokens and then Shieldmate blocks them. So that would have worked out a little bit better, I guess. But I'm still gonna attack here. And if they want to double block, so be it, but they probably want to preserve their lifelinking tokens to convoke. And now I think we'll play Recruit. And yep, there's a Centaur. But Sure Strike can tussle with the Rosemane Centaur here. Alright, land is good. But Tajik now doesn't look all that great, so we probably just want to attack with both. If they block, we Sure Strike. If not, we'll play a Tajik on defense. Seems totally reasonable. Is there a reason to show them the land yet? Don't think so. Opponent takes it. So the Centaur is gonna get in there for quite a bit of damage here is the downside, but I don't think we can afford to keep up Sure Strike forever. Shieldmate. Alright, take 5. Oof, that's rough. Banneret to draw, but we don't have double red. So if we want to Sure Strike, we can't Banneret as well. We're still gonna attack here. And then we probably just have to keep up Sure Strike here to block the Centaur, and if they have a trick and response, we're dead, but so be it. Can't afford to keep taking 4 from the Centaur. But their opponent confidently attacking with the Rosemane Centaur is probably not a good sign. I mean, if we draw land plus like a Cosmotronic Wave, that would be kind of an out, but we might be dead before we get there. So first of all, this has to work. It does. Alright, step 1. We're down to 6. And there's a land. Sadly, it's not a red source, so we can't play Truefire Captain. And it's also not gonna let us play Direct Current, which would have been pretty sweet here. But we can play Guildmage at least, which is something. And then hopefully next turn Trostani. I'll take a Cosmotronic Wave off the top as well. No attacks, that's good. And a Unicorn, oof. Righteous Blow. Sadly, that doesn't really work out the way we want it to. Could still tap it down with the Guildmage though. So that's probably what we have to do. And then we get to play a Banneret as well, or we get to Righteous Blow with a Hawk. It's probably better. Alright, let's pass a turn. Don't think we attack with a Recruit. Probably want to keep it back to block. So I need to make sure we tap our mana correctly, keep up white mana. Tap down a Unicorn. And it's still going to be an uphill battle from there. We'll need to probably top deck red mana for Current on the Unicorn first. And then we might be able to play Trostani. Join shields to untap their creatures. Yeah, that's pretty effective. So how dead are we? Pretty dead, I would say. Alright. So did our opponent bring it in response to our Cosmotronic Wave, perhaps? Who knows? I mean, Cosmotronic Wave looked kind of good in that game. Opponent showed us some additional one-toughness creatures, Sworn Companions. Not the best if they get to convoke out their Rosemane Centaurs, but they also have a Hawk we can kill. I think Wave is probably defensible. Don't know if we want it over the Whelp or in addition to the Whelp. So we've also seen the Conclave Tribunal, which makes me not want to include the Candlelight Vigil. Ladev Guardian didn't seem too impressive there, had we drawn it. Does block the Inspiring Unicorn, but doesn't kill it. So the Ladev Guardian is probably cuttable in hindsight now. Sure, so we've got a ton of hate for one-toughness creatures, maybe a little bit too much. But the Wave still has additional utility, so does a Whelp. So let's try this. Definitely want to be on the play. This hand looks good. Just need some lands. And we are playing 17 lands, so we're not getting too greedy here, so hopefully we get there. Turn 1 Hawk. So Wave's looking good. I think we Goblin over Guildmage. Probably turn to Shieldmates. Nope, nothing. No land 3, sadly. There's a land. Let's get in there. Alright, so our opponent has a very slow start here. That's promising. And we've got plenty of backup to make sure our creatures can keep attacking here, so... Ooh, Beast Whisper. It's a nice target for Lava Coil, I guess. And where do we put the counter? I'm thinking Goblin. Opponent just scoops it up. Alright, fair enough. Sweet, so got the first one there. And this hand looks good. Don't have white for Guildmage, but we've got a lot of other 2-drops we can play, and then some spicy 3-drops. So we'll keep. Up against Dimir. Pretty far away from the True Fire Captain. I like Recruit here since it attacks into Whisper Agent a bit better. Well, in the face of Darkblade Agent, I guess not so much. But seemed like a good opportunity to resolve our Bodyguard here over the Warboss. The token just suicides into the Agent. Warboss can, or a Bodyguard can at least attack into it plus Mentor. Yeah, seems good. Dimir Locket, I'll take it. And a Poisoner. Alright. Poisoner's a little annoying, but that's a nice Lava Coil. Can play the War Boss, attack with the Bodyguard and Recruit, Mantron to Recruit, opponent blocks Bodyguard with Poisoner, we're left with War Boss, a 3-2 Recruit, and a Lava Coil in hand, which we can use next turn to clear a path for the War Boss. What's the alternative? Casting Lava Coil on the Poisoner right now. Have a Bodyguard still in play, but if they then kill the Recruit, the Bodyguard won't be able to attack. Although I guess then we can play the War Boss, which makes a token which can attack alongside the Bodyguard, but the token just gets blocked by the Agent anyway. I mean, I guess we don't have to play the War Boss pre-combat since they block the token anyway with the Agent. Yeah, I mean, might as well. Maybe they forget. So the predicted blocks. And we're hoping they don't add another good blocker here so that the Lava Coil can clear a path for the War Boss. Just cast a Notion Rain or something here. Alright, Watcher in the Mist, that's fine. Can't quite clear a path for the War Boss, unless they attack with an Agent, which they might. Because they get to draw a card if they do, but I think that's acceptable, since then we can kill the Watcher and then War Boss and Recruit get in, and we get a 2-2 Goblin token. But our opponent's going to play it conservatively, keeps the Watcher back. So this turn, for mana, we can only do 2 things, which is Goblin plus Lava Coil. I think we probably go for it here, and then we get to attack with our Recruit. Seems fine. And then next turn, if we hit a land for Sergeant, we might be able to Mantron to the War Boss so it can attack past Agent. Yeah, that Captain's gonna be like a turn 8 play at most. Campaign, alright, I guess we know what we're discarding. Feels less bad to discard it now. Opponent's got something, but they're not gonna play it, so it could be Whisper Agent giving this Death Touch, which would be kind of bad. So I think we're just attacking Goblin plus Recruit here. Shieldmate being castable through green mana ends up being relevant here. I mean, our opponent is down to 9 already, so Wall of Mist is fine. Opponent could have also been keeping up a counterspell last turn, but they didn't cast it. And now they play a Wall of Mist, keep up their counterspell, so if we play the Barging Sergeant, they probably counter it. If it's the Surveil counterspell, then they pick up Campaign, make us discard Guildmage, which is kind of bad for us, but I think we still go for it. So which counterspell is it? Artful Takedown would be painful too here. Might be it. Yep. Alright, that's a bummer. Yeah, that kind of stops us in our tracks. What happens if we attack with everyone? Opponent blocks War Boss with Agent, blocks 2 damage with a Wall of Mist, takes 4 down to 5. Is that good? Probably not better than just staying back. Alright, opponent's got 3 cards in hand, they still have the Locket they can sacrifice, so now we're falling a bit further and further behind. And a Deadly Visit for the War Boss too. Well, if we can find a pump spell here to get past this Darkblade Agent, we have a chance, but yeah, things are definitely escalating now. Alright, white mana for Guildmage, gives us a way to maybe close out the game, which I guess is nice. And we'll be empty-handed for the campaign. So we get to take out the Darkblade Agent at long last. Alright, I mean, if they don't kill the Guildmage, they're dead in 3 turns. But I'm assuming that the Dimir deck probably has at least one more removal spell. So far so good, I guess. Might as well play our land. And I don't think we're tapping anything. No reason to attack, so let's just burn their face. End of turn. Well, our game plan is pretty clear here. Just need to make sure the Guildmage survives 2 more turns. Opponent's gonna sack the Locket, so we'll get to see quite a few cards. But I've already used some removal spells, so hopefully no more incoming. Huh, Tajik. Do we play Tajik? I mean, our opponent's got the campaign in place, so they're not threatening to make us discard. So we're probably better off just activating the Guildmage again. Since it's not like Tajik really does much. I mean, we can give it first strike and it can mentor onto the Shieldmates, which I guess is pretty good. But is it better than just dealing 3 with the Guildmage? I'm not sure. Since the Guildmage is the more inevitable clock here, we could also Tajik plus tap something down with the Guildmage here, but we can't give Tajik first strike then. I think it works out better if we just burn their face. So can we dodge removal? Alright, so far so good. So they've got 3, possibly 4 mana to kill our Guildmage. Or gain life. Alright, they're digging, so I think they're dead now. Unless they go dead weight on the Guildmage. Alright. Opponent's attacking to keep digging. If we block with the Recruits, they get to draw a card with the Reaper. If we don't block with the Recruit, they get to draw a card with the Agent. So regardless, they draw a card here. So might as well just take 2 and keep the Recruit in play. So maybe if they do kill the Guildmage, or Tajik can still kill them. I think that makes sense. Kill you. Alright, so far so good, but our opponent does have a very solid deck there. Dimir, lots of removal, lots of card draw, some good blockers. So how do we want to sideboard? Pack Beast could be okay in this matchup. Vigil's terrible. Sure Strike has its moments. I don't think we need a second wave. Don't think we need a second Whelp. So we're mostly looking at Pack Beast just to get us that one turn where we get to get in a nice attack and maybe Mentor. Direct Current's a little bit mopey since it doesn't really kill their 2/3s. It's kind of weird to maybe cut the Direct Current, but it might be reasonable. I could also see the Righteous Blow not being great, as they haven't shown us many 2-toughness creatures. Yeah, that seems okay. And this hand looks pretty great. No 2-drops sadly, but we've got a lot of them that we can draw into. And some quality 3-drops for sure. Turn 1 Banneret, why not? Right, they've got the wall. Well, our draw is definitely lining up nicely. Might as well. We've got a few options next turn. Alright, so opponent's got 3 mana up. They could have a Whisper Agent. They don't have double blue, so it's not Sabotage. So if we play Tajik, we get to Mentor right away. Get a counter somewhere. If we play Charger, then next turn Tajik is looking quite spicy. If we play Warboss, we get a 1/1 token for free, unless they have a Whisper Agent. But by going Tajik, Mentor onto Banneret, we get to attack past the Whisper Agent potentially, and still trade. I think I like Tajik over Rock Charger over Warboss. I think I like Warboss the least. since that exposes us to Whisper Agent. So let's Tajik. And Mentor onto the Banneret, so that if they do have a Whisper Agent, we at least trade off. Alright, they got nothing. That's helpful. And a campaign, sure. Think the Shieldmate can go here. Yeah, when your Boros opponent has this start, then campaign's not where you want to be. What now? Free War Boss, attack with everyone. Seems pretty good. Make sure not to mess up our attack step here. Can definitely happen with a War Boss in play. And then where do we mentor? Can mentor with a Banneret onto the token, and Tajik onto probably the Bannerets, so he can keep mentoring in the future. Alright, well, as it turns out, our constructed worthy draw can beat a Dimir deck. Alright, so we're 2-0. Let's see if we can keep it up. Haven't seen our Trostani in play yet, so hopefully that'll happen. Alright, what about this one? No white mana. Do we have a Lava Coil and a Sure Strike? Sure Strike not too useful if we don't have white mana. Yeah, we would have to draw a white source or a forest at least for the Shieldmate in our first draw step, which is not very likely. So I'm probably leaning Mulligan, despite the Lava Coil. Alright, this is better. Don't need a 5-drop. And we can even afford to play the Banneret, so we can play turn 2 Ornery Goblin. Turn 3 we can pump Banneret, plus play a tapped Guildgate to set up the disregard. So we've got our next couple of turns already mapped out. Opponent on green-white. Alright. No play from our opponents. Let's pump. And mentor. So we're seeing Goblin Bannerets in action here. And next turn we can disregard plus pump again. Decent start. Opponent already down to 13. And a Generous Stray. Decent blocker here. Can block our Banneret. But never mind, I guess we can just disregard. Extra toughness survives the Stray. Actually lines up pretty well. Yeah, the disregard's ability doesn't come up a whole lot, but when it does, it feels pretty nice. So happy we ended up including a few disregards over Shieldmates in the end. So we're clearly gonna pump the Banneret here, but might as well hide the info since we don't need the mentor right away. Opponent takes 6. Lava Coil can clear a path, and we can pump Banneret once again, so opponent's definitely on the back foot. If they go land into Rosemint Centaur, they're just dead. So we're mulligan to 6, definitely paying off here. Opponent's got a lot of cards in hand, but they can only play so many cards per turn. A Recluse, alright. Keeping up white for a Marshal, alright. So they've got a few blockers. So I don't think we can kill them. What happens if we use Lava Coil? We can take out the Recluse, we can pump Banneret, mentoring onto the disregard. Opponent's gonna block the Banneret with probably the Marshal. And then they can chump to not go to 1, otherwise they go to 1. Alternatively, we could pump the Banneret twice. Does that change anything? They're still just gonna block the Banneret, and now the disregard could also get double blocked potentially. So I think I prefer the Lava Coil. Be aggressive, get them low here, and then hopefully be able to finish them off in time. The only question here is whether they chump or if they go to 1. We are representing Take Heart, technically speaking, but I doubt they'll play around it. So it could be that they need the Marshal for Convoke. Falls to 1. If we draw something like a Sky Knight Legionnaire or Cosmotronic Wave, we can just end the game on the spot. And that is if our opponent manages to put up enough blockers. Rosemain Center by itself is not good enough, but they also have a Hunted Wind, alright. So our opponent might be able to survive. A Righteous Blow. So if we attack with both, they block the Disregard with the Centaur. We can Righteous Blow to finish it off. Witness blocks Goblin, they get a 1/1 lifelinker and a Marshal versus a Goblin, so that's not a great spot to be in for us necessarily with our opponent having 3 cards in hand. But what's the alternative? Not attacking. Don't love the no attacks. I mean, we could also just attack with Ornery Goblin, and if our opponent wants to trade for Centaur, that's fine. And if they jump with a Witness, then they just get a lifelinker, which is okay. Maybe that's better, but maybe forcing the issue on the Disregard is fine. Yeah. That way our opponent doesn't get to respond with their own pump spells in their turn. That's a little bit safer, I think. But of course, if they use a pump spell on a lifelinking token, that's not great. Alright, so 2 for 1 ourselves there. Any of those previously mentioned top decks would be lethal, but things can definitely get out of hand here. But as long as we keep our opponent at a low life total, we can make sure that any of those top decks are live going forward, even if the game sort of slips away from us and we lose control of the board state. Alright, Generous Tray is good. Lots of chum blockers here. So yeah, what other outs do we have besides Legionnaire and Cosmotronic Wave that win us the game on the spot? I mean, Guildmage would get pretty close since we can just burn them out, but they're also threatening to gain a bit of life with the Hog, the Token, and the Marshal. So do need to kind of close out the game quickly. Trostani would be sweet. Direct Current would be an out as well. So we've got a handful of outs. And another Rosemain Center, alright. That's not one of those. Don't think we can attack now. So our opponent gets more time, they can potentially gain some life here to reduce our outs. So we had a very promising start, but now the mulligan is catching back up to us. Oof. Yeah, that'll turn a game around pretty quickly. Why does it have to gain X life as well? That's just mean. Like, isn't drawing cards and getting +1/+1 enough? Why do you also have to gain X life? Take 2 from Temple Garden, but they're going to be gaining at least 4 here. And a Prey Upon. Alright. Respecting a pump spell, I guess. So now we don't have any outs left. Alright. So lots of blockers, lots of Generous Trays. So the second wave is definitely coming in. Could also consider bringing in the Hellkite Whelp. Waves coming in, and I think the Whelp's coming in too. And that's about it. What do we take out? Righteous Blow, not great, not terrible. Lines up well against the Hawk. Don't really want to use this on the Generous Tray, so I could see cutting it. The Sergeant's probably not great, since we've got so many blockers. We could consider the Punch, but now that we took out the Sergeant, it gets a bit worse. And if they can establish their lifelinking creatures, then it's unlikely that we get to burn them out. Don't have a ton of high-powered creatures to begin with, so I don't think that's the correct approach here. Punch is more of a card you want against the more controlling decks, where you get to discard some lands in the late game just to get in 2 or 3 extra damage to finish them off, but it's not a way to steal a game against an opposing aggressive creature deck, in my opinion at least. Alright, I think we go with this. Yeah, Sure Strike could also be reasonable to get past the Rosemain Centaur, but we already have 2 of them. We brought in an extra wave to prevent them from blocking. Don't want to go overboard and end up with too few creatures to go alongside those bomb spells and other effects. Yeah, this looks okay. Another turn 1 banner start. And I think we still go with a turn 2 Ordinary Goblin, although after seeing Generous Stray, maybe we want to consider playing the Shieldmate instead. Ooh, nice. Yeah, I think Shieldmate makes a little bit more sense, although it's close. If they want to trade, that's fine by me. Ever board in or out lands unlimited, depending if you're on a play or draw. Not that often. Every now and then you'll do it. Like if you're on the draw, you're more likely to draw land, so you might cut a land. But it's difficult to really quantify when it's correct to do so. So usually just don't bother. Alright, Warboss is a nice pickup here too, since we can attack with a 1/1 for free this turn. Is it better than playing a Bodyguard though? I guess it's close. Like, the Warboss still mentors next turn as well, plus we get a 1/1 this turn. So probably worth it to Warboss anyway here. But yeah, the Hawk now being a 2/2, definitely a drawback, because now the wave's no longer gonna get it done. Yeah, it's Warboss. So that also explains our opponent didn't want to trade for the Banneret. We do have double red, so if we draw Direct Current, we might be able to kill the Hawk. Attacks for 2. And a Skyline Scout, that's fine. Ooh, that's a spicy land. Yeah, I think we go for the wave here, kill 2 creatures. Maybe it's premature, maybe we can afford to play Bodyguard first or go Goblin plus Bomb Banneret, but it feels pretty dirty to just wave here, kill 2 creatures, get to Mentor, and it also sets them back on Convoke. Yeah, I think it's worth it. And then I think we put the counter on the Banneret, so that it's easier to mentor next turn. Put them down to 12. Tap land for the opponent, so center is not an option. And our opponent packs it in, alright. I guess wave was pretty good there. Well, good thing we've got 2 waves, since we're gonna need them. Opponent might maybe reconfigure, take out some 1-toughness creatures, but don't think we make any changes based on that. Righteous Blow against a 2/2 Hawk would be nice, but how often are they gonna have a 2/2 Hawk? Not sure. And we do want to stay low to the ground to make sure we kill them before Camaraderie happens. So I think we stay put. So we'll be on the draw now. And got a decent hand. So definitely gonna keep. Hopefully Lava Coil can tag a Rosemane Centaur. Alright, they've got turn 1 Hawk again. Might get to mentor with Tajik. So which 2-drop to play? I'm thinking Fresh-Faced Recruit. If they play Generous Trade, attacks into it. If we mentor onto it, it's a better attacker going forward. But some of those things can be said as well about the Shieldmate. Alright, Kitty Cats. Yep. Alright, looks like a great opportunity for Tajik. And then next turn we can Guild Mage plus Shieldmate, which is pretty sweet, or Lava Coil as well. So we've got a nice start. I guess Sky Knight Legionnaire plus Mentor would also be a reasonable play. So a lot of options. Second Hawk. Oh boy, if we can draw a wave here. But they might convoke a centaur. Alright. Lava Coil is gonna be spicy. Ooh, we even have Integrity Intervention as a pump spell now. But I think we still have to Lava Coil here, it's just too efficient not to. And then we get to add either a Guild Mage or Shield Mage to the board. Is a mana a consideration? Given that we have a forest, it's easier to cast a Shield Mage. Don't think that's a real argument though. So let's kill this. And then I think we probably lean towards Shield Mage here. Alright, so next turn we've got a few more options. Can Legionnaire plus Integrity, which is pretty efficient. So we're totally fine if they have another Convoke creature here. Restore gains them some life, which is unfortunate, but I think we'll handle. Alright, I mean, this looks like a Legionnaire plus Integrity turn to me. And then we can Convoke on the Legionnaire. And by not playing the forest, they're not going to suspect Integrity. Keep our opponent on the back foot. Imagine top decking a Trostani next turn, how epic would that be? Or a wave. So we've got some pretty solid top decks. But yeah, it's not like we need much help. Opponent packs it in. Sweets, after getting demolished by Camaraderie in game 1, game 2 and 3 we were able to recover. Yeah, those were some pretty punishing draws, thanks to our rare 3-drops mostly, and Lava Coil, pretty powerful removal spell as well. Alright, so we're 3-0, let's keep it up. Alright, well, there's Trostani, but sadly only single planes, which is not gonna cut it. Alright, if we can find white mana, this sounds okay. Sure Strike's reasonable, but probably still gonna bottom it here just to maximize our chances of finding white mana for Tajik. So could get punished here for the forest. Turn to enhance surveillance, alright. So surveil heavy deck. Yeah, whenever you have a surveillance in play, you have to pass a turn manually since it doesn't skip the turn. Because you could technically activate the surveillance. So it also helps you disguise your instance in a way, since it's gonna pause all the time. So we're gonna have a harder time figuring out whether they're holding something. Well, I guess we're pumping a Banneret here. I guess we can show them the forest. And Gruul aggro. Well then, our Banneret has definitely been our all-star this draft. Just putting a ton of pressure in play on turn 1. So against Island, Enhanced Surveillance, what do we want? So this could be a matchup where Gravitic Punch could be useful. I don't think we board it in before we see more from the opponent. A Righteous Blow could be kind of bad, but it's difficult to tell without seeing more. So probably just run it back. Yeah. Alright, now we'll be on the draw, so we're more likely to hit our land drops. But not like this. It's, Guildgate is nice, but yeah, I don't think we can keep even on the draw. Alright, well, we've got the entire rainbow, so gotta keep. And a Gird for Battle's not good enough, we would much rather have a 2-drop here. Want to make sure not to play the forest until we have to. In case of a True Fire Captain, want to make sure we have double red, double white in play as soon as possible. Alright. To drop a turn late here. So what do we play? If we play the bodyguard, it's not going to do much. The charger at least attacks for 1. So I guess we want to attack for 1. And even if we top deck a Sky Knight Legionnaire with haste to let us attack with a bodyguard, it would just trade for a centipede, which isn't great. So I think we just play a charger for now. And then next turn we'll bodyguard, and the turn after we can attack with Sure Strike backup. A little bit slow to get started, but gotta do what you gotta do. More centipedes. Alright, Legion Warboss is good too. Is it better than a bodyguard though? I think bodyguard's better. I might as well attack. And then next turn we have some options. Definitely getting outraced by the Dimir deck here, which feels bad. Well, the Warboss actually some pretty good synergy with a bodyguard, since the token lets us attack with a bodyguard and mentor onto the token. So that's nice. And then we probably just want to Lava Coil a Centipede to deal with it. We could also keep the Lava Coil, instead just use Sure Strike, but that's a bit risky in the face of instant speed removal on the other side. Could also go Warboss plus Disregard, and then just block the Disregard on a Centipede, and then we can Lava Coil onto the other Centipede that gets the counter. Maybe that's better. Although Disregard could enable an attack into a Centipede next turn if they keep the Centipedes back, which is not unreasonable. So a few options. Definitely want to start with a Warboss. So they are trying to race. So yeah, I think this works out. So we'll block one of the Centipedes with a Disregard. They'll put the counter on the other Centipede and we get to Lava Coil it. So they don't get any value. Instead they put it on the Barrier of Bones. Alright. And a third Centipede. Alright. I guess we know what we're killing. Lava Coil Centipede number 3. Attack with everyone. Mentor onto the Warboss to make future mentors better, or we can mentor onto the token. Could have also attacked and then used Sure Strike and then Lava Coiled after they put the counter somewhere, but I think this is okay. Like, we're not really at the risk of dying, so our opponent's gonna stay back next turn anyway. I guess we're fine putting the counter over here just to spread out the wealth a little bit more. And then the Warboss can keep mentoring onto the 1/1s, and then next turn we can attack with it with Sure Strike backup. And we'll keep land in hand in case of a discard effect like a Burgle Rat or Campaign. Sure. And our opponent packs it in. Alright, well. I guess Warboss gets it done. So after a very quick game 1, triple Centipede was not good enough there. So Lava Coil once again showing why it's such a great card. So we're 4-0 with Borostani, yet to see Trostani in play. Alright, got a decent hand. Hopefully we find a third land in time. Preferably a mountain. Alright, there we go. It's going to be a little bit disappointing not to get to Caster Trostani, but if we can get the 5-0 without Trostani, I'll take it. It's the Boros Mirror. Well, Trostani's certainly pretty strong in a Boros Mirror. Legionnaire. I'm kind of liking the bodyguard into war boss situation. Since again, if our opponent gets cheeky and kills our shield mate, then the war boss still ensures that the bodyguard can keep attacking. And mentoring onto the shield mate's pretty nice. Alright, they've got a tribunal. Get rid of bodyguard, that's fine. Alright, we're still where we want to be here. Get to war boss now. We'll keep up a plains, I guess. Attack for 3. And then plains lets us captain, any land lets us sergeant, and otherwise we have wave and current, so got a ton of options. A Vindicator, alright. Scary card. And is this a Gird for battle, maybe? Yep. Alright, so current looking great. And a maximized velocity too. Alright, so they're sending... yeah, we'll take 9 down to 7, I guess. And a goblin to draw, so let's just zap that. And send in. Opponent at 8. Could definitely die here, but I think I still like our chances. Unicorn, but no land to jumpstart the velocity. They might even have to play defense, which is pretty ugly. Nope, they send. But now I think they're just dead on board to the current, so that's kind of a weird play. Can just zap this, attack with everyone, and they're dead. Works for me. So don't need to show them any Gird for battles here. I guess we'll show them an Ornery Goblin, which gives them the least amount of information. Alright, that went well. War Boss definitely winning us another game, almost by itself. Alright, so against Boros, what do we want? We saw Unicorn, we saw the 1/1 double striker. So normally I'm kind of a fan of maybe additional waves, but on the draw, in game 2 here, we're less likely to be the aggressor, so wave is less important. On the play for game 3 we might bring it back in, but for game 2 I don't think we want it. What do we want? The Ledev Guardians, a consideration as a decent blocker, but there's not much I dislike. Like our entire deck is pretty well set up already. I think one wave is still defensible. Trostani's good, Sergeant's good at racing. If they get too aggressive, we can punish them. I don't think we can cut anything to make room for the Guardians, so I think we'll stay put. If we see a bunch of creatures that line up really poorly against the Guardian, we'll reconsider it for game 3. Alright, this is a pretty nice opening hand. No interaction, but a bit of evasion with the Charger, a bit of mentor with Tajik. And we're all ready to top deck Trostani in a turn or two. So we can lead with the Shieldmate into probably... Well, we'll see. If the board state is open for Tajik, we'll play Tajik. Otherwise, we'll play Rock Charger first. We have had green mana in most games to be able to cast Trostani at least, so we're ready. Just waiting for the grand entrance. Opponent appears to have multiple 2-drops they have to decide between. So that tells us... Ooh, alright, it's gonna be double 1-drop. Start, maybe? Nope. Witness plus keep up something. Could be the Gird for battle that we're holding on to. Who knows? Let's just play Shieldmate. We'll see what they do here before we decide. Legionnaire. Alright, so presumably if they attack and we get to play Tajik here. Ooh, there we go. Alright, we're doing it. Just need one land and this game's over. Well, now is definitely a good time to draw it in the hopefully final game. And if we draw land next turn, then we might want to go double 2-drop to set up our Trostani a bit better on turn 5. If we don't draw land, we might go with a Rock Charger instead, we'll see. Could also go 2-drop plus activate First Strike if we have to. Legionnaire gets in for 2. And our opponent says go. Alright, so did not draw the land, but I think I still like playing the disregard targeting Tajik here, as that allows us to play around a Righteous Blow, although they can still block in a Righteous Blow. So maybe we do just Rock Charger. Like if we disregard on the Tajik, it doesn't really play around a whole lot. If we're being honest, it just makes it so if they have a Righteous Blow, they'll also have to block with a Witness, but they're pretty happy to block with a Witness anyway. I guess it plays around Take Heart +2/+2, but no it doesn't since we can just give First Strike. So I think we just send and see what happens. And then we'll decide what to play second main. Yeah, I mean, I'm totally expecting them to have a trick here, but if playing disregard doesn't really play around it, then there's no reason to. Alright, they have a Sure Strike. So if we First Strike back, we trade. I mean, we don't really care about trading. I would rather just develop multiple creatures this turn. So that's fine. And yeah, I think we go double 2-drop here, so we'll go Shieldmate plus Recruit. That way, if we do draw land for Trostani, it's going to be more impactful. And keep the guard in hand to potentially get a creature out of range of a potential blocker. Alright, chat. I need your energy for an untapped land. Second Legionnaire is pretty good. Thanks, chat, you're great. Alright, hopefully we don't lose this one. Hey, thanks for the bits there, Chaps Weekend. Borostani forever. Opponent's down to 5. We've got some lifelinkers back. Opponent does have 4 power in the air, but dealing 8 extra damage out of nowhere here is not going to be easy. So I think I like our chances. We'll see. Trostani almost as good as Heroic Reinforcements. Yeah, at least Trostani has a bit of a longer lasting effect than Reinforcements. And there we go. The clean sweep, 5-0. Nice, nice. Well, our rares definitely did some heavy lifting this draft. That's for sure. But ending with Trostani was pretty satisfying. Sweet. Let's crack some packs. Light of the Legion, pretty solid card. Hatchery Spider, just a big spider. The ability doesn't come up a whole lot, sadly. Blood Operative, decent card. Yeah, probably the pick here over the Minotaur. Mythic Wildcards, always appreciated. Harpooner, probably the pick over Capture Sphere would be my guess. Although if you have a strong preference for blue, you could just take the Capture Sphere anyway. And I guess we'll take another Operative here. Indrik would also be a solid pick, but Operative keeps you more open for Dimir, which is a bit better than Golgari. And they're pretty close in power level. Alright, Atrata, pretty nice pickup. Harpooner, also a solid card, but I don't think we take it over Silencer. And Patrol versus Harpooner is also close, but probably leaning towards Harpooner just as a quality 2-drop that's still relevant in the late game. Alright, so a nice successful draft there. Otherwise, I want to thank everyone for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day. I also want to thank all my patrons for being part of the channel, and you can become a patron yourself today and decide the topic of future videos over at patreon.com/LegenVD.